Welcome to 2026. Now when you're seeing this, I know we're already probably a week or so into 2026. Maybe not quite that far. But December was a very busy month for me, and so I did not get these videos recorded ahead of time, and so this is just the reality of life and of having a fun hobby that you don't treat as a job. And that's exactly what this channel is for me. So if you are new here, hello, my name's Danielle. I'm so glad you decided to stop by my channel, and I hope you'll enjoy what you see. You want to stick around, hang out, definitely say hello to me down in the comments because I love to say hello back to you. And for those of you coming back, thank you so much. And all of you that are coming to watch this, thank you for being interested in what books I plan to read for 2026 and also my kind of reading plan. So I have a whole pile of books sitting here next to me. So we will get started with my 26 and 2026. And the reason I chose the books that I did was, there was a couple of reasons. So I definitely, number one, wanted to pick things that I physically have at home. I have a lot of books here. If you are new and have not seen my other videos yet, I do a lot of book shopping because I enjoy it. And I acquire most of my books through thrifting and then like Book Outlet. So I get them very inexpensively, which means I have a lot. I've accumulated a lot. And so I was not going to put anything on this list that are things that I'm going to have to go out and purchase, whether on Kindle or like going out and buying the physical book. I wanted to go ahead and utilize the physical books that I have already in my collection. So that was the number one thing. And then number two, I wanted a wide variety of genres. So you are going to see everything from classics to thrillers to fantasy to romance, all that good stuff. I decided I really wanted to be very well-rounded in what I chose because I am a well-rounded reader for the most part. I mean, I definitely started getting into some different genres over the past year that I hadn't really been in and want to dive more into those. But yeah, I just really wanted to make sure that what I did choose from the collection of books that I have was very well-rounded. And my basic plan with these, well, let's go ahead and get into them. These are going to be in no particular order. I'm just going to go ahead and show them to you. I'm not going to read synopsis of things or anything like that, or this will take forever, but you'll hear more about them as I choose them, you know, for my TBRs for the months, which we'll get to that. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and start grabbing. First off is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I know so many people, like this is such a beloved book for so many people, and I feel like everything that I've heard about it would be things that I would love also. So I'm like, why have I not read this yet? So I picked this up from Book Outlet before, well, in December or the end of November. So I'm excited to get this on my TBR in 2026. I have The Good Girl by Mary Kubica. I have not read anything by this author. I've heard great things. This book actually I thrifted and it has been sitting on my shelf for quite a long time, and so that was one I definitely wanted to get into and see how I feel about this author because, like I said, I've heard good things. I have Blackbird House by Alice Hoffman. Again, another author that I've heard fantastic things about. This has been on my shelf for a little while now. I thrifted this, and also I had this on my TBR at one point and did not get to it, I believe for November, and so it is one that I knew I wanted to make a priority to read this year. We have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Yes, I'm admitting I have never read this. And why? I don't know. But I definitely want to get more classics under my belt. And so this just seemed like one that definitely needs to be read this year. I have The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This has been on my shelf for quite some time too. I got this from Second & Charles, and I've heard amazing things about this book. And so I'm excited to read it this year. I have The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Again, another classic. I got this in a little free library, and if I'm going to take something from a little free library, I want to make sure that I'm reading it. And so, yeah, that's on the list. I have Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I'm sorry. This is a chunky book, and that kind of scares me, but I have heard fantastic things about this. And I picked this up in a library book sale in the summer, and so definitely knew this is one that I wanted to read for this year. I have The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I have not read this book since college, and I remember really enjoying it, and so I definitely wanted to. I had been kind of watching for a copy of it in thrift stores, and I ended up finding one this summer, and so I'm excited to reread this. I have a romance here. This actually is 4 different books in one book, but the reason that I have pulled this is I went to read The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. I've heard she is a closed-door romance author, which I am all about. I do not appreciate or enjoy spice in books. And so if I can find, and that actually keeps me away from romance a lot, because to me it's not romance, it's just physical whatever. And so I would love to find some good actual romances and be able to have it be something that I can enjoy reading and not feel like I have to skip pages or whatever. So definitely excited to check that out. I also picked that up at a thrift store. I have Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is another one that I picked up at a thrift store, and I've had it on my shelf for quite some time. I've only read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by this author, and I liked it okay. I don't think it lived up to the hype that I was hearing about it, so I'm interested to see if this one will for me. Maybe it's just not an author for me. I guess maybe I'll find out. I have Out of the Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis. This is a space trilogy. I actually picked up the other 2 books in this trilogy from Book Outlet in December, and this one I picked up at a thrift store for, I'm sure, under $1 or right at $1. And so when I picked this up, I knew I wanted to get the other 2, and when I saw those on Book Outlet, and it was during the $5.99 fiction sale, you better believe I grabbed them. And so I am excited to get into this because I love C.S. Lewis. I love his nonfiction. I love the Chronicles of Narnia. It's one of my absolute favorite stories, like the complete series of all time. And so I'm excited to see what this is all about. I have Ask for Andrea by Noelle W. Ely. I picked this one up in a used bookstore back in, I think, the beginning of October. And I have been dying to read this book. So I'm like, this is going to be a, you know, priority kind of read for this year. And I have been hearing so many good things about it. So I'm feeling, I never really have FOMO, but for some reason with this book I do, which is dumb because I have it, so I can just read it. So that is what I will be doing. I have Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. And this book, one of my wonderful friends who is also a published author, she said this is one of her favorite books. And so when I picked this up at a thrift store in the summer, I got really excited about it because I just picked it up because I was seeing it everywhere. And in like some other stores, I'd been in like Half Price Books and saw it in there. And then we went to a thrift store and it was there. So I was like, okay, I feel like I should pick up this book because I'm seeing it all over the place. And this edition is beautiful. It's the 75th anniversary edition. And so then to hear a good friend of mine say that it's one of her favorite books, yep, knew it needed to be on the list. I've got Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. I have been wanting to read this for a very long time. I've heard it's a very dark book. I'm okay with that. I admittedly like some really dark books. This one I got at a Second and Charles, and so definitely going to be reading this year. I've got another Jane Austen. I've got Sense and Sensibility, just like Pride and Prejudice. I've never read this before, and I have this beautiful edition that I got at Second and Charles, and so, which the Pride and Prejudice that I have, that also I'm pretty sure was from a Second and Charles. And so definitely excited to be able to check out some of these classics that I've heard people talk about, you know, my whole life basically, and just haven't read them for myself. So I'm excited to. I've got Fairy Tale by Stephen King. I picked this up from Book Outlet. I've had it for quite some time. Actually, I know one of my longtime subscribers to this channel and my other channel, Sue, she ended up reading this because she saw me pick this up. So she's already read it and she really liked it. So I need to read this. Like, people are picking up books based on the ones they see me getting, and they're reading them way before I am. So I need to fix that. So definitely this will be a priority. I have Thief of Corinth by Tessa Afshar. I have heard really good things about this author. She is a Christian author. She does a lot of, you know, books based on different books of the Bible or characters of the Bible. And so I am really excited to be able to check out some of her writing because, like I said, I have heard good things about her, but have never read anything from her. So if I really like this, then I would definitely want to be watching out for more of her books because I know she's got quite a few. And so I picked this one up at a thrift store. I have In 5 Years by Rebecca Cyril. I actually had this on one of my TBRs, well, for November, like Blackbird House by Alice Hoffman, and I just didn't get to it. And so this one is one that I was very excited about. The sound of it being a, you know, love story, but I'm trying to think. It says, In 5 Years is an unforgettable love story, but it's not the one you're expecting. That intrigues me. And so I definitely knew that I wanted to be able to get to this soon. And so this will be one that you will be seeing me read fairly soon because I definitely wanted those ones from November that I was excited about that I didn't get to. I'm like, I need to make those priorities for this year. I have City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I have heard so many good things about this series. This is the Mortal Instruments series, and there are several books in this series. So there are 6 books in this series, and I found this actually in a thrift store, and I've had it for a long time. And spoiler, but you're going to be seeing this book somewhere else. You'll see. But I knew that this was a series that I really wanted to check out because I've heard people say, like, when you're getting into fantasy and stuff, that this is a really good one. And so that's something, since I am just really over this past year starting to read a little bit of fantasy, I would like to really delve into it a little bit more. And I feel like a series might help me because it'll immerse me in a world instead of just a standalone. Don't get me wrong, a lot of times I prefer standalone books to series, but I feel like to really get myself into a certain genre, this might be a great way to do it. So excited about that one. So Jane Eyre is my favorite book of all time, but I have not read Wuthering Heights by her sister Emily, by Charlotte's sister Emily. And so I have this book that has both of those books in it, and I read Jane Eyre, and again, reread it for, I don't even know how many times I've read that, probably 8 times or so. And so I plan to get into Wuthering Heights this year because, again, another classic that I've heard fantastic things about, but I've never read. And so I'm so happy that I ended up picking up not just a version of Jane Eyre, but this book that has both of these stories in it so that I can get into Wuthering Heights. And I picked up this version at Barnes & Noble in like their book annex section that has, you know, all their classics and stuff. So if you're interested in something like this, that's where I got it. I have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I got this one from Book Outlet. Then I found the second book in, was it the second book or the third book? In a Little Free Library. And then I found the next book, so either the second or the third, I can't remember if they were switched around or not, in a used bookstore. And then I think I picked up the 4th one from Book Outlet also. I'm having a hard time remembering now. In any case, I ended up putting together the whole series because it's something I want to read. And so I definitely need to get into this year. It's one of those books that I keep hearing about and hear people talk about the whole series, so like speaking so highly of it, and I still have not gotten into it even though I have them. Like, do you see why I'm doing my 26 and 26 only based off of things that I physically have here? That would be why. I have Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I have not read anything by this author, and so definitely want to do that. And I have had this book from Book Outlet sitting on my shelf for a while now, and it just, I don't know, it makes me happy when I look at it, and so I want to read it and see what it's about. I have heard kind of mixed things about this author, so I'm interested to see how I feel about her writing because, you know, I mean, everybody's different, and there are things that some people absolutely love. Like, I hear people say such great things about Taylor Jenkins Reid. Upon my first impression of reading one of her books, not my favorite. But that's the thing, we're all so different that different things, you know, stand out to us or interesting to us, or even like turn you off to their writing. So I will have to see what I think of Alex E. Harrow's writing for myself. I have Belladonna by Adeline Grace, another series I have heard phenomenal things about. I have Belladonna, and I have Foxglove, the second book. I do not have the third book, Wisteria, yet because that one has not come out in paperback form yet. And since I have Belladonna and Foxglove both in the paperback versions, I want to wait for Wisteria to come out in paperback before I purchase that. But I got both of these from Book Outlet, so that's kind of my hope too, is kind of to wait until it comes out on Book Outlet so I can get it for a really good price and complete the collection. But yes, heard fantastic things, so I can't wait to read this. Next, I have The Authenticity Project by Claire Pooley. This book, when I read what this book was about, I just fell in love with the idea of it. And so I feel like it's just going to be like a very good like character study just about like why we are the way we are as humans, like things that we try to maybe keep secret, but then what that does to us, and how being authentic with the people around us and even strangers just like if we all were truly authentically ourselves, what that would be like. And so I cannot wait to see if this is as like what I'm picturing, you know? It says, enjoyable, a clever, uplifting book that entertains and makes you think, and heartwarming. And those are all things that I like appreciate when you're reading other genres like fantasy or horror or thrillers or whatever, that kind of stuff. It's a totally different feel for this kind of a book. And so I think this will be a great one to have in the mix. I also got this from Book Outlet quite some time ago. And so it definitely needs to be on my list. Next up, another author that I have not read anything by, and it's such a shame because wow, have I heard amazing things. It is Kristen Hanna, and this is The Four Winds. Now this is not The Women or Nightingale, which are the two that I hear the most about, but I picked this one up from a little free library when our family was on a trip in Ohiopyle, Pennsylvania this year. And so as soon as I saw it, my niece was actually, that was with me too, she was reading The Nightingale at the time. And so when we saw this little free library and looked, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a Kristen Hanna book. I haven't read anything from her. I'm going to grab that. And so that's kind of a cool thing and just kind of a memory to me also. So I am really hoping that I love her as an author as much as everyone else does, because I've heard nothing but good things about all of her books that I've heard people talk about. So we will see. And then the last one is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Yes, you've heard that name before because she also is the author of The Inheritance Games that I talked about that's on this list. But I do have this entire series from Book Outlet also. I watched Nellie Hodges and she binged the series. Like she said, she just absolutely loved it and ate it up. So I hope that I will feel the same way. It totally sounds like something that I will feel that way about. So I'm excited to be able to hopefully binge read it myself since I have the whole series here at home. So those are my 26 and 2026 that I am planning to get to. Not planning to, I will be. Because here we're going to get into my reading plans for the year. So first off, part of my TBR every month will be 2 books from these 26. So obviously I'll have 2 months where I have to add an extra one in. And that means I'm going to have a separate little TBR jar type thing where I'm going to pull 2 titles from each month, where I will be pulling these into that month's TBR. So I'm actually very excited to be doing that because then that way I will make sure that I'm getting to these books. Another thing that I am going to be doing, and I can say I already know for sure this is a book that's going to be in it, so this will already be one of my 26 and 2026 that will be taken care of, is I'm going to be doing a buddy read with someone every month as part of my TBR. So one of my books for each month will be a buddy read with somebody. This I'm hoping to have be a subscriber that I can get to know more, because we'll be able to chat back and forth kind of about the book we're reading as we're reading it and things like that. And also the other, you know, besides subscribers, would be other creators, other people with book channels that then I can help share with you guys. And so I can get to know those people more and then also expose you to their channel too, so that if you enjoy their content, you can check them out. And hopefully that will just be a fun way to bring in an extra element for each month's TBR that's something different. And also for me to be able to get to know some of you, and some of you are also creators who watch my channel. And so that if you would be interested in doing that, please let me know. Please reach out to me or just tell me down in the comments. Obviously, if I'm doing one a month, I can't do more than 12. But if you don't get on it this year, then I definitely would love to do this again next year. So, and maybe, who knows, maybe I'll say, you know what, this month I'm doing 2 or something like that. So definitely let me know down in the comments if this is something that you would be interested in doing. But I already have someone that I'm reading The Inheritance Games with. Her name's Haley Darby. And so you will be hearing about her more when we actually do read this together for that month's TBR. So that's just going to be an extra fun element that I'm adding to my channel this year. And then something else I'm going to be doing for my reading for the year is I have blind TBR still, that I have those books wrapped that I did last year, and I can't even remember when I did it. It was probably in the winter, honestly, or spring. I think it was in the spring. And so I plan to incorporate those here and there, because there's not a ton of them, but like when I feel like pulling in something extra like that. And then also, I still have my TBR jar that is just the titles of all of the books in my collection. So I'm going to be taking the time to go through and separate these books for my 26 and 2026 from my just entire collection. And then I already have my blind TBR already separate. So that way I will be pulling from different places all the time. Hopefully that will be something interesting to you guys. And yeah, that is my plan for this year, to get through the books that I already own. So this is not, I'm not saying I'm not buying more books. If you think you heard that, you heard wrong, because that never came out of my mouth. But I do want to make a priority to read the books that I already have, instead of planning to go buy things for my TBRs. I know that's fun and some people really like to do that, and I mean, I totally get it. But because I already have so many books here that I am excited to read, that's why I picked them up in the first place. I want to make those my priority for the year. And then the books that come in along the way, I'll be adding those to I'll throw those in with my, titles of all my books in my collection. And so those will be able to pop in to my TBRs throughout the year as well. So I would love to hear what you guys think of my plans, or any of the books that are on my 26 and 2026 on your list. In saying that, to do a buddy read, I'm not going to purchase books for a buddy read. So it's going to be books that I already have in my collection that I will be doing a buddy read with people. So if you heard me talk about a book that you have, that you've been wanting to read, that you're like, oh, we could buddy read that book, please let me know that. So that's my plan for my buddy reads, is to utilize books that I already have. So, or if you want to reach out to me, you can tell me some books that you have, and if I have the same, one of them or a couple of them, whatever we can choose from. So yeah, I am really excited about my plans for this year. Oh, I didn't mention how many books I plan to read this year. So I had put on my Goodreads last year, my goal was to read 50 books. And I didn't start until February, because this channel started February 1st. And so that was when I started my reading for the year. And I ended up reading 66, I believe, if I'm saying that wrong, I'll put the number on the screen, but I'm pretty sure it's 66. So I feel like I did really well with reading over this past year. And saying that, I don't want to go crazy. So 50 I felt like was very doable. I do still want to give myself a little bit of a challenge. So I am saying 55 books is my goal to read for 2026. And if you would like to follow along with me in more real time of what I'm reading, you can follow me on Goodreads. I have the link down in my description box for you. And that way you can kind of see as I'm reading what I'm reading. And I rate every book that I read and all that good stuff. And so you can kind of follow along with me there if you would like to. But I just want to thank you guys so much again for making the past year so much fun for me. I'm so glad that I started this channel. I've met so many awesome people. I look forward to meeting more. And yeah, I hope that we will all just have a really fun reading year and just a really good year in general. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye.